The man on the other side of the screen, Jason Hehir, just did an exceptional job directing The Last Dance, the 10-part Michael Jordan documentary that has aired on ESPN over the last 5 weeks. And he joins us now. Jason, did you sit back in those 2 hours when it re-aired, when it aired every Sunday night, and just watch the finished product, even though you lived every frame and every bit of sound in it along the way?
I did, of course. And I was texting back and forth with friends and family and people who hadn't seen it, and then of course the team of us who made it who have seen it. Because it's kind of bittersweet for us to be done, but we haven't seen each other since Thursday, March 12th was the last time we were all in the office together. So this is definitely not the way we envisioned finishing it. But I was watching with everybody last night because I had never seen those episodes on a television screen. I've only seen them on the laptop that I'm speaking to you on right now because we finished those episodes in quarantine. So I've never seen those on any screen bigger than this little one right in front of me.
Having to rush the project to get it ready to roll it out a little bit sooner because it was going to be around NBA Finals time. What did that do to the production team to try to pull everything together that you'd been working on for quite some time, and now you had to fast forward something that really is a highlight of your career works?
It was technologically, it was a big challenge because we had to go from a multi-million-dollar facility into our own apartments. You can see here that this does not look like a multi-million-dollar edit facility, and we don't have the same accoutrements that you would in a place like that. But we have brilliant technical people on our team, and we have world-class editors who happen to have world-class setups already at home. So we were able to go pretty much seamlessly and get just large hard drives full of thousands of hours of footage into our apartments. And then creatively, it was difficult because we used to, all these high points of the doc of any project are the product of an epiphany that you have in the room with the people you work with. Late at night when you're ordering takeout, someone has an idea, try this shot over that cut of music, and the ideas go from there. Well, that was
Right.
gone now because we're just on Zoom calls and emails and texts.
What do you think Michael thought of the finished product?
I have heard that he was happy with it. I can't say for certain because I haven't spoken to him or communicated with him since the last time I saw him, which was in December when we did that interview when he's in the black shirt. We shot that on December
Mm-hmm.
10th, I believe, last year. But I've heard through a couple of sources that he enjoyed the final couple of shows.
What were those interviews like? Because there was the one that ended, I guess it's episode 7, where he was emotional, talking about really if you will, the 2-minute soliloquy on what made Michael Jordan different. And then he said break at the end, and he got emotional about it. What was the setting like as you guys were doing those interviews?
Surreal for that one when he first sat down because this had been the product of 2 years of research and preparation to just get him in the chair for the first of what was 3 interviews. So it took me a solid 5 or 10 minutes just to kind of shake off that out of body experience of how am I sitting here talking to Michael Jordan for this documentary. But it's a testament to his charisma and his down to earth nature that pretty soon it's pretty easy to have a conversation with him. And I think that he respects people who have done their homework, and we certainly did our homework as a crew before that shoot. That moment that you just spoke of happened only 45 minutes into the first interview, and we got 8 total hours with him on camera, but that was 45 minutes in. And then I don't know if you remember from the first episode, I said to him that the Bulls were called the Chicago Bulls Traveling Cocaine Circus. And it
Mm-hmm.
elicited this laugh that I've never heard from him before in all of the research that we've done and all the docs I've seen and the interviews that I've seen. I've never heard him belly laugh like that. So that was only 20 minutes into the first interview. So him laughing like that means that A, he's acknowledging that that's true and he's not afraid to show it. And then B, he took it a step further and offered us an anecdote about what it was like from his perspective coming from college to see that.
Yeah.
So it was very indicative very early on that he was in this for real.
Jason, a lot of these you'll have somebody with a reporter, somebody who's been on camera a lot, do the interviews. You do all the interviews here, and one of the key things in any successful interview is connecting. Why do you think you were able to connect with Michael in a way that we haven't seen him connect with most other than Ahmad Rashad, really, or Quinn Buckner over time?
It's like I said, the research. I think he knew, and his his representatives, his closest advisors, Curtis Polk and SD Portnoy, had the foresight to put me in front of him a few times before we actually sat down. So I met him 8 or 9 months before we ever rolled cameras. So at least he knew me, he knew my face at least, and he knew that he could trust where I was going with this project. He knew he was in responsible, safe hands. And also, I don't think that we've seen him in this setting a lot. I think that's probably what he would be like with a lot of interviewers. That's his personality. He's a relaxed, fun guy to hang out with, very much a guy's guy, very much, cracking jokes with the crew and cracking on them. And he appreciates it when you give it back to him. So he's an easy guy to get along with. And I think that you're seeing the real Michael when he's sitting in that chair, just having a conversation with me rather than a quick formal interview.
All right, what's the big chunk of storytelling that you couldn't fit in that you wish you could have?
Probably his early development, both in high school and then in college, and early in the pros. You saw George Kohler, his personal assistant and best friend, and Michael was the one who insisted that he be titled that. And that tells you all you need to know about his relationship with George. He met George when he first got to Chicago when he was a rookie. He came off the plane and he couldn't find the car that was supposed to pick him up. And George couldn't find his fare, who he was supposed to pick up. So George went up to Michael and said, hey, aren't you Larry Jordan? And Michael said, no, that's my brother. I'm Michael Jordan. It turned out that George had played ball with a guy named Larry Jordan, just got the name screwed up. But Michael wasn't Michael Jordan at that point. He was a famous college player, but he certainly wasn't a household name yet. And he ended up giving Michael a ride to his hotel for $25. And Michael tipped him, and George gave him his card and said, hey, if you ever need anything in Chicago, need to know where to go, give me a call. So 2 days later, Michael calls George up because he needs to go find a place to get a haircut. And they've been best friends ever since. So there's little stories like that all throughout Michael's. We had a lot of stuff about his childhood, about his high school career, like I said, about his decision to leave UNC and how much thought went into that with Dean Smith and his counseling. So there's a lot of that early stuff that I would love to have done, but we had to get through so much story with other characters as well.
Oh, it was massive, and the interviews were great. Phil Jackson, Steve Kerr. JC, you get up on a mountain here with your work, and you have, because this has been so well received and so praised. And criticism naturally comes from more directions the higher up you go, right? And people have said, well, because Jordan's folks and his team had input into it, there was other stuff that could have been delved into more. Did you run into a lot of stop signs, don't go here, in the editorial process?
I ran into 0 stop signs during the editorial process. So when that criticism comes, it comes from 1 or 2 sources, and then I think it becomes kind of in vogue to maybe adopt that and look at the doc through the lens of, well, this is what Michael wanted to say. Michael was involved, but on a distant satellite level in the making of this documentary. He never came close to the edit room. He only was seeing cuts when they were really just about to go on the air, just more out of curiosity than editorial control. I think Michael is above the fray when it comes to caring about how polished his image is and what he wants in there and what he wants out. And to the critics, I would say, we addressed all the stories that I hoped that we would address when we embarked on this 4 years ago. We did the accusations of Michael's gambling. We did the death of his dad. We did the conspiracies that surrounded his dad's death and his leaving for baseball. We did the criticisms that Michael has received of being a really harsh teammate. There's a lot of things we got into here. We got into the Republicans buy sneakers too thing. There's a lot of things that we got into here that I haven't seen him speak on the record about yet. And I'm proud of the stories that we told.
I thought it was great. I loved every second of it. And maybe you guys connected because of your great Williams College baseball career. Maybe that's where the real connection between you and Michael came up.
He has an affinity.
A lot of our folks at NBC.
He has an affinity for lefties who throw in the high 70s. I think that was it.
A lot of our folks behind the scenes at NBC are Williams College alums, and I know a lot of them are proud of your work as well. And it was really cool to watch, and especially at the time that it all hit. I know it was a lot of years and a lot of hours of work, and a shout out to you, man. Well done, and thanks for joining us here today, Jason. We'll look forward to catching up with you down the road. Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.